Okay, so just recently the new M1 Max and M1 Pro MacBook Pros were released. And, they made headlines for all these crazy benchmarks and, statistics and all this crazy, powerful stuff they were doing. And they were really great laptops, but most popular things that came up about them was the notch. Like, that's what everybody was talking about, not the powerful processing and everything. A lot of people are just talking about that super massive, like, notch on the top of the screen. And it was just kind of funny because Apple said, of course, that it was like, uh, so they can make room for their 1080p webcam, but there's no Face ID, and there's just a webcam. That's all it is. And, sure, they had to make room for their webcam, but it's 1080p. It's not like it's 4K or 8K webcam. It's a 1080p webcam. We see that all the time. And why is everyone so shocked that there's a notch in a laptop? Because we never see it, ever. No Windows laptop has ever had a notch, or at least any sort of popular one has. And so it just kind of a dumb excuse, in my opinion, that they say that they were trying to make room for their webcam. And I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think that the real reason behind this notch is something other than what a lot of people are saying. In fact, I think that might have been one of the smartest things they put in this laptop, and here's why. You see a smartphone with a notch in it, what do you think? It's an Android? It's some OnePlus or Google or Samsung? No, it's an iPhone. That's immediately, or at least for me, the first thought that comes to my head when I see a phone with a notch, because the iPhone is the only popular phone that still has a notch. Whether that be good or bad, I don't know, but it's true. And that's intentional. That's Apple, that's basically passive marketing, because now Apple doesn't even have to do anything for you to instantly be able to tell that it's an iPhone. Whereas Android phones, they all look the same. So you could see an Android phone with a little, hole punch on the top, and you would have no idea what brand it is. It could be Google, Samsung, OnePlus, any of those brands, and you would have absolutely no idea. But an iPhone, it's super, super easy to recognize it. And I think that might be coming over to the MacBook, because before, the MacBooks had these big bezels. They had this big lower bezel, this big upper bezel, and even the side ones are pretty big compared to the other ones. And so every time you saw that, you would think, oh, that's a MacBook, because there's no other Windows laptops with those big notches anymore. But the problem is they just got rid of that. They shrunk all the bezels down. So now it's just any other Windows laptop, except for the notch. And now you can easily tell that it's still a MacBook, because you see that notch and you think, oh wait, that's an iPhone notch. That's what iPhones use, so it's probably a MacBook. So they're basically easily marketing without even having to do anything except for make a little design change. And I'm not saying that the notch is good. I'm not saying that it's aesthetically pleasing, but it's there. And now every time you see it, you think, oh, that's a MacBook, but for the better or for the worse. It's the same reason why iMacs still have this massive, massive bottom bezel in all of their models. Even the Pros have these massive chin underneath them. It's not good. It's really not very good. Like it's not very pretty to look at. But it's Apple. Every time you see that, you're like, oh, that's an Apple product. They don't even need the Apple logo anymore. They've established themselves with that massive bottom bezel so well at this point that they literally took off the Apple logo on their last iMac. If they were to take that massive chin, shrink it down to just a little bezel and put a black bezel all the way around, now suddenly it's every other monitor in the world. And so now nobody can tell apart their Apple's product from any of the other companies. And that's the last thing Apple wants. They want to be super, super easily recognizable from everyone else. So in my opinion, it's the same reason why the Apple Watch is still square. I think that circular watches look a lot better. I think most people do. And they might be smarter on a software perspective too. But it's an Apple Watch, and it needs to be square because it's an Apple Watch. And when you see a square watch, you immediately think, oh, that's probably an Apple Watch. It's the reason their headphones, the AirPods Max, look so unbelievably different from all the other headphones on the market, and why the HomePod looks a lot different than Alexa and Google Assistant and all these other smart home devices, because you can always instantly tell that it's an Apple device, and that is exactly what they want. And in my opinion, that's exactly why they put a notch on the MacBook Pro. Would it have been hard for them to put a 1080p webcam in that tiny little 3mm bezel? Probably would have been pretty hard, but they have a massive team of engineers, and I think that they could have done it if they really wanted to. I mean, they are the largest company in the world after all, but I just don't think they really wanted to. They didn't have enough of a motivation to try and fit all that webcam in that little bezel when they could have easily just put a notch and use that as passive marketing. So yeah, those are just some thoughts. They are just opinions, they're not facts. I think it's interesting how all their products look so different than the competition. I feel like there's something intentional behind it. But that's it for today's video. Make sure to subscribe if you like this kind of content. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.